Hello, so friends, welcome back to my sewing corner. Today we're going to look at how to cut and construct a pleated overlap bodice design for kids. Whether you're a seasoned seamstress or a beginner, this method will change the way you approach sewing clothes for kids. My name is Ajulam. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more sewing tips and tutorials. Let's get started. Here I have my basic bodice pattern drawn out. So I'm going to start by creating the strap and the new neckline. Before I do that, I'm going to make the midpoint of my armhole visible because I'll be needing that later. So this is the midpoint. I'm just making it visible. All right, so like I said, I'm going to create a new neckline. So you can decide how open you want the chest area to be. So for this age, this is for a 3-year-old, I don't want the chest area to be too open, so I will just make it 3.5. that is for the neck depth. Now I'm going to make it 3.5. Remember I said we're creating a new neckline and this is going to be a V neckline. So this is where my 3.5 is. So I'm going to connect it straight before getting my strap done. All right, so I'll just straighten it up to this end. Just follow the shoulder line there and mark the 3.5, which is here, and then connect it straight. So after connecting, now we'll create the strap and the neckline before we now create the overlapping effect. So this is a very simple sewing project that you can actually make in less than 10 minutes. So this is the new neckline now. So you can decide how many inch that you want the strap that you want to have to be. All right, so the first thing I'll do is to take the neck width down to this point. I am working with 2 inches neck width, so I'll come to this line and mark the 2 inches, and then I'm going to connect it straight to meet up to this end. Remember, this is where my 2 inches is for the neck width. So just connect. So on this point you can decide what to use as the strap, but for this I will not be using my fabric as the strap. I'm going to use maybe an embellishment. It can be a bead, it can be any design that is tiny, and then you can now place it on this area as the strap. So I'm just showing you this for you to know how to go about yours, but if you don't have any form of embellishment, you can go ahead and use your fabric to create your strap. So for the strap I'll be making it 1 inch. Okay, so this depends on how tiny or big you want the strap to be. So I'll just connect. Now I have my strap ready. This part is off and this other side is also off. So I'll repeat the same on this other end. This is 2 inches, and then I'll connect. And then I'm working with 1 inch strap, so I'll just take it down. So now you can see that the strap is ready. So I'm going to know what I have here as the strap. Of course it is the 3 inches, and then keep it aside. And after drafting out the back strap, I'll also measure and then add it together to know what I'll be cutting out on my embellishment as the strap. Okay, so this is 3 inches front, so just note that. So now the strap is ready, this part is off and this other side is off. So I'm going to create the V neckline now. So for the V neckline, you can decide to come down by half, 1, or even on this chest line, because at the end of the day the overlapping is going to cover up the chest area. So if you decide to take it down, it's still okay, but I'll just go up by 0.75 from this armhole line. Just go up by 0.75, and then I'll now create the V neckline like this. From this strap, that is where I am creating the V neckline. So I'll just connect this other side as well. Okay, so it is ready. We are now working with just this part and the strap. This other 2 side is off. All right, now the front is ready for the neckline and the strap. I'm going to create the back one before coming over to the overlapping part. So for this back side now, you can see what I did here. the neck width for the front and the back should be the same, so that you don't have any stress while making the dress. So we're working with 3 inches, right? Okay, so just take it down on the back side. Now for this back side, if you want it to be more open, it's still up to you. You can decide to extend it to 4 or 5, or even on the armhole line is still okay because it's at the back side. All right, so for that reason I'm going to extend mine, just make it 4 inches. So I'm going to experiment with this. So this is 4 inches. I'll just connect. So if you're not sure what you're doing, just use what you use for the front side. So I'll just connect, and then the neck width is 2 inches. I'll just mark the 2 inches here. Remember that this is my zipper allowance, so it is off. So I'll just mark my 2 inches from here and then connect. And then I'm using 1 inch strap, so just mark that. Now from what I have for this back side, you can see that the strap for the back is 4 inches. So the back is 4 inches, making it total of 7 inches. For the strap now is going to be 7 inches. Alright, before I continue, I would like to quickly remind us that we have our online classes going on. We have the beginner class, the intermediate, the advanced, the trouser, and of course the blazer jacket ball gown class. So if you're interested in any of these classes, kindly send me a WhatsApp message on the number showing on the screen for more details about the classes. All right, so this side is off. Now for the back side, I am not making it a V. I'm going to leave it as it is, so I will not be making it a V. So I'm okay with what I have for the back neck line. So now for the overlapping part, the first thing I'm going to do is to use the chest span measurement to do that. So for this age, the chest span measurement is 6 inches. Half of that is 3. Remember that this is the front, so if it's 6, meaning one side should be 3 and the other side should be 3. So I'll just go ahead and mark the 3 inches. Alright, like I was saying, for the overlapping part, you just go ahead and mark half of the chest span measurement. So what I'm going to do is to come over to this midpoint. Remember, I made it visible when I started the video. So I'll come over to this midpoint and I'm going to mark my half of the armhole, that is the front armhole to the back armhole is always 5 inches. So I'll just mark half of it, which is here. Okay, this is also another method when you want to make an off the shoulder. You know, from the front armhole to the back armhole, it is always 5 inches for this age. So I'm using half of that, which is 2.5. So I'll just extend it. So for this part, you can just easily take the measurement on the child if you want to make something like this. So this is what I have. So all I'm going to do is to use my hand and trace it to come over to this end. So this is where you can just easily, you know, place it the way you want. Just curve that and make sure you can see that it's touching the 3 inches earlier that I marked as the neck depth. So make sure it touches there so that it will cover up this part that is going to be a little open. So I'll just continue like that and let it touch to that midpoint, just like that. So I'll just make this more visible for you to see. Now this is what I have. So all I need to do is either to use my slash and spread method, or to use whatever I have here now and multiply by either 2 or 3 or 4 or even 5, depending on how fluffy you want this pleating area to be. You know, this overlapping part, I'm going to plait it at the end of the day. So I'll just place my tape and measure what I have. Remember, I said you can use the slash and spread method or multiply whatever you have by at least 3. So this is 13.75. I'll just, you know, approximate to the nearest whole number, making it 14. This is 14 inches for the front side. So you can either multiply, like I said, by at least 3. Whatever you have is what you're going to be cutting out on your fabric, although I'm going to show us that as well. Now the front overlapping effect is ready. I'll come over to the part and then extend it as well from this midpoint, that is the armhole midpoint. I'll just make it visible. This is the back armhole midpoint. Okay, remember that I am just using this to illustrate. We're not going to be needing this part. I'm just using it to illustrate on what you're going to be cutting out on. That is for the overlapping effect. This is out of the way. I'm just using it to show you what to do. So just extend by 2.5 also. You can see this back is 2.5, front is 2.5. I'm making it 5 inches for the front armhole to the back armhole measurement. So I'll just extend. Okay, so for the back side, this overlapping will not be needed. Okay, it's going to end on this zipper line, which is just here. So this is not really needed, so you don't need to measure half. Okay, but if you still want to be creative, you can also measure half and see, that is, mark out the chest span and then see what you have at the end of the day. So this is what I have for the back. It is now straight, so I've measured this. Okay, what I'm going to do is to cut this out. I'm going to cut this shape out and turn it to match up with this, so you understand what I'm trying to explain better. Here you can see I just cut this out. I just want you to really grab what I'm trying to explain. Now you can see that this is the side. I'm going to turn it now. You can see that the two sides is meeting each other, and then this line, you can see that it now aligns with the front side. So you can either measure it straight to this end or also measure this. So for the back overlapping effect, all you need to do is just to place your tape on that 2.5 inches that I marked and just take it straight to see what you have there. This is 7.5. You can add it to the 14, or you can just place it like this and then measure it from this point all the way down to this end. Okay, now this is the part that we'll be using, and then when you measure it all the way down, you also need to measure this end now. Okay, don't worry about the sewing allowance on the side, because this is a pleat. At the end of the day, it's not really necessary. So for the waist area, this is 16.5. okay, so just note it somewhere. Waist is 16.5, while this part is 14 plus 7.5, or you can just place it like this and measure from this part that is overlapping all the way down to the end. You can say this is 21.5. okay, so this is 21.5. so now this is what you'll be working with. So all I need to do now is to cut out my strap. Now if you don't want to have any confusion, maybe you're a beginner, if you don't want to be confused, you can draft your pattern in 2 places. You can use one to create the neckline and the strap, and then use the other pattern to create this overlapping effect so that you don't get confused. So I'll quickly cut out all this shape out and then show us how to stitch it neatly. Alright, here it is after cutting them all out on my fabric. Now you can see the strap, the way I place it. I use my paper sellotape to join it together before cutting out so that I will not have any joining on this end. And then I'm going to use this to place like a form of decoration. That is after sewing the strap. This is going to be on top. Alright, so I'm going to explain a little on how you go about the overlapping part. Now this is the pattern for that. So like I said earlier, you can decide to measure what you have from this end to this other side, or you can just measure what you have on this waist area and then multiply by at least 3. Whatever you have is what you're going to be cutting out. Okay, so whichever one you prefer to use is okay. So here I have 18 inches, while this other side it was 21 when I measured it. So this is almost 17.75, which is almost 18 inches. So you can see that the difference is not that much, so you can use either this part or this part. All right, so after multiplying mine, I have what I have is equivalent to 1.5 yards. Okay, so you can see that I have the width I have here is 1.5 yards, and then you're going to check the height. From here to here it is 7 inches, so the height should be 7 inches by 1.5 yards. And now this 7 inches, I'm going to double it because it's not going to be just one like this. You need to put it on fold. That is to say, you'll be cutting out 14 inches, which is the 7 multiplied by 2. This is going to be on fold, so that after sewing this part, it's going to look neat. If you open it up, this is by 14. Then when you close it, this is 7 inches. Then I'm going to start the plating from this end. Now this end is going to sit on the waistline, although I'm going to show you when I get to that part. So you're going to pleat from here. You're going to just pleat just like that. You pleat, then you just continue like that and pleat until you exhaust all that you have before placing it on the front side. And then this, remember that this should be this should be 2 pieces. You know, this is just one side. You also need another one for the other side. Remember, this is part of the front and this one part of the back, so you need another one for the other side. So I have this I have 2 pieces, 2 panels of this. This is the second one that I'll be using for the other side. So the first thing I'm going to do is to start with the strap. I'm going to stitch it and then give all this a very good press. Then I'm going to stitch it, sew this on top, and then attach it. This is going to be the last one. All right, so join me. Let me take us to the sewing machine so you can see the stitching part. This is where we are so far. As you can see, I use my pin to secure this very neat. So that is how I'm going to use my needle and thread to tag this very clean and very neat. Just take your time and tag it so that that part will not be falling down. So all I need to do now is to do the finishing part, add the skirt part and the zipper, and that is how to create this beautiful look. That is it for today. Please subscribe if you have not, and I will see you all in my next one.